subscribe for more.
I never imagined I would become the kind of man who planned something like that. But marriage has a way of turning you into someone you don't recognize. My name is Callum Wright. I'm 43. I was married to Elena for 11 years, or at least I thought I was. Looking back, the signs were there long before that night, long before the restaurant, long before the papers in my jacket pocket. I just didn't want to see them because seeing them meant admitting I was replaceable. Elena and I didn't start broken. We started ordinary in the best way. Sunday mornings with burnt toast. Long drives with no destination. Laughing at things that weren't even funny. I worked logistics for a regional shipping firm. Not glamorous, but stable. Elena worked in marketing, ambitious, social, always chasing the next opportunity. She said she liked that I was grounded. Said I made her feel safe. For years, that was enough. Then safety became boring. Conversations shortened. Touch disappeared. She stopped asking about my day, and I stopped volunteering details because she wasn't listening anyway. Nights turned quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Empty quiet. I told myself it was a phase. Work stress. Age. Life. That's what men do. We rationalize. We endure. The first real crack came when she started guarding her phone. Face down. Password changed. Quick smiles at messages that weren't meant for me. When I asked, she laughed and said I was being dramatic. I believed her because believing her was easier than confronting what I felt in my gut. Months passed like that, distance wrapped in excuses. One Thursday, she said she was meeting a client late. New account. Important dinner. She dressed differently than she had in years. Not professional. Intentional. Something in me finally went still. Not angry. Just clear. I followed her, not to catch her, but to confirm what I already knew. The restaurant was dim, expensive, the kind of place you save for anniversaries. I watched from across the street as she laughed with a man I'd never seen before. Leaning in, touching his arm, the way she used to touch mine. That was the moment I decided not to confront her, not to yell, not to beg. I went home and slept better than I had in months because the uncertainty was gone. I called a lawyer the next morning. Quiet meeting. Straight facts. Papers prepared. No drama. No speeches rehearsed. I didn't want revenge. I wanted finality. When the lawyer asked when I planned to serve them, I surprised myself by saying, tonight. I returned to the restaurant an hour later than them. Same booth. Same man. Same laugh. I waited until the server brought their drinks, until the moment felt irreversible. Then I walked over, calm, steady, like I was delivering a package. Elena, I said. She looked up, confusion first, then shock. Callum, I placed the envelope on the table between her and the man. These are divorce papers. You can read them later. The man froze. Elena didn't. She stared at the envelope like it was something alive. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. You followed me. I didn't need to, I said. This was enough. She stood up so fast her chair scraped loudly. People turned. She didn't care. You can't do this here. I just did. Then something unexpected happened. She started crying. Not quiet tears. Sobs. The kind that come from a place deeper than embarrassment. She looked at the man and whispered, I didn't tell you. He stood, muttered something, and left cash on the table without looking at either of us. We stood there alone, years of marriage condensed into a few feet of space. She reached for my arm, and for the first time in a long time, I pulled away. I was going to end it, she said. I swear, I didn't think you'd find out like this. That's the problem, I replied. You didn't think about me at all. Her reaction shattered something I didn't know was still holding together. Not because she was sorry, but because she was sorry too late. Regret isn't the same as respect. Tears aren't accountability. I realized then that even if she begged, even if she promised to change, the man I was before that night was already gone. She begged anyway, outside the restaurant, voice shaking, makeup ruined, hands trembling. People passed by, pretending not to stare. She told me I was her anchor, that she'd been lost, that it was a mistake. I listened, calmly, fully. Then I said, you don't get to date other men and keep me as your safety net. I walked away, not fast, not slow, just forward. Later that night, alone in my apartment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not victory, not anger, relief, the kind that settles into your bones. I didn't shatter her world that night. She shattered mine long before. All I did was stop pretending it wasn't already broken. The next weeks were quiet in a different way. Messages from her came and went unanswered, not out of cruelty, but necessity. Friends asked questions I didn't know answers to. Family offered opinions I didn't need. I focused on routines, early mornings, long walks, simple meals. In the absence of chaos, I noticed how much of myself I had been shelving just to keep a marriage afloat. I wasn't healed, but I was no longer bleeding. Sometimes at night, the image of her face at that table would surface, and I would feel a twinge of guilt. Then I would remember the months of silence, the rehearsed excuses, the distance I carried alone. Closure doesn't always arrive with comfort. Sometimes it arrives with clarity. Handing her those papers wasn't about punishment. It was about choosing not to disappear quietly. I didn't win anything. I simply stopped losing myself. That decision, once made, became the foundation for everything that followed.